After 1947 to the present. Under this tenure of a last 74, I think it's a 75th year. 75th year is going on for the independence of India. 75th year is going on for independence of India. Since last 75 years of Indian independence, the 75 years of Indian independence, the different fields associated with the development of our country. Development of our country improved due to as the efforts made by the government. Government of India took the number of the steps in relation to achieving the developmental goals of our country. In which the first, the important effort, it was as the Planning Commission, which was set up in 1950 to formulate 5-year plans. 5-year plans for sectoral growth of economy. First, as the establishment of Planning Commission. Second, as the NAM, Non-Aligned Movement. India became as a part of a non-aligned movement. Non-aligned movement. Non-aligned movement means after the Second World War. In which year the First World War finished? Viren, Manaswi.
1918.
Bache, wake up. Second World War.
The second, first.
Began in 1939, finished in 1945. Finished in 1945. 1945, September 1945, when US dropped the 2 nuclear bombs in Hiroshima and Nagasaki, which you read in your previous classes, regarding it. So in 1945, when the Second World War finished, afterwards the world divided into the 3 parts under leadership of the United States of America. A large number of countries, they supported the United States of America, like as England, France, they supported it. Second head, it was as maintained by the Russia, present Russia. From the Russia, the former USSR disintegrated, and Yugoslavia, Kazakhstan, such number of countries came into existence. But there was one more group was there. That group was named as a non-aligned movement. These were those which were not aligned. Aligned means not joined to either to the US or to the Russia. They became as a neutral. Non-aligned movement, they became themselves as the neutral in relation to the other countries. So India became as a neutral at that time. At that time, the 3 countries of the world, they joined the non-aligned movement. One, Egypt. Second, Yugoslavia. Third, India. Egypt, Yugoslavia, and India joined the non-aligned movement. They became as the neutral in both of the situations. That's why after completion of the 75 years of Indian independence, our relations are good with both the countries. We are purchasing our nuclear fuel, uranium, thorium, we are directly as purchasing from the US, and Russia supporting us in a field of a military. in a field of a military. Last 2019, December 2019, India signed as the treaty with the Russia, in which as the 6 nuclear submarines, it will be as a given by the Russia to the India. That deal, it finalized still as the December 2021. December 2021. Till present, there are 2 nuclear submarines are in Indian naval forces and 4 are remaining. Clear? So that's why, because of the such situation at that time, those countries which supported the US at that time, at the time of the after the Second World War, finishing of a Second World War, now these countries are not having as a good relations with the Russia. India, it is now as a better in a condition, completion of a 75 years. And since last 75 years, earlier as Pakistan, a neighboring country, it took support of a US, but due to as a treaties with the China. इसकी एक example है 2018 Gaddafi port, it is as nearer to the Karachi. Nearer to the Karachi, it has took by the China from Pakistan on lease, rent basis पे ठेके पे ले लिया जैसे इंस्टॉलमेंट दे रहे हैं, एनुअल इंस्टॉलमेंट दे रहे हैं और 30 years के लिए दिस विल बी एज ए यूज बाय द चाइना. अगर आप वर्ल्ड इकोनॉमी, वर्ल्ड पॉलिटिक्स की अगर बात करो, China access towards the Pacific Ocean only. It can only access towards the Pacific Ocean. It can't move towards the European countries as easily. If China want to move, it would be as a move to as the Pacific Ocean, Arctic Ocean, then move towards the Europe. अगर आप Arctic Ocean की बात करो, वहां पर there are the cold weather conditions are there, not favorable. So China tried to dominating over the Gulf countries in the European countries through that port. Clear? Now they can easily access towards as the Gulf countries, Saudi Arabia, Iran, Iraq, or move. They can easily move towards as the European countries. Why? Because of their relation. Now as present as Pakistan supporting the China and US having as a conflicting issues. When you heard that news of a North Korea, in that state as a China, it was only as a country of a world which supported as a North Korea. आपने न्यूज़ में देखा होगा. So all these situations, India, it became as a neutral throughout the since last 75 years. That's why India now as in a better in a condition, our economic pace, the pace of a development is a continued in our country. Why? Because non-aligned movement. India joined the non-aligned movement in 1961. It happened after the independence. 1961. Clear? 1961. Third important work, which was also done after the independence as a State Reorganization Commission, which framed as an Indian Union. State Reorganization Commission, 1953. State Reorganization Commission. After merging the maximum number of the princely states under the Indian Union, due to as a endless efforts of Sardar Vallabhbhai Patel, State Reorganization Commission completed their work, and finally as the present map of India came into existence in a form of a different number of states. But these states were divided on the basis of a linguistic beliefs. On a basis of a languages, the first 14 states were framed. All the different states of India, these framed on the basis of a linguistic languages. Clear? Third point, as a State Reorganization Commission in 1953. First, we discuss as a planning commission established in 1950, 1953 as the State Reorganization Commission, 1961 as the non-aligned movement. Clear? Non-aligned movement. Next, SAARC, S-A-A-R-C. 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 It stands for the South Asian Association, South Asian Association for Regional Cooperation. Regional Cooperation. The South Asian Association for Regional Cooperation. This is as the regional intergovernmental organization. Intergovernmental organization of South Asia. South Asia countries which are lies under the southeastern parts of Asia, which includes, you have to note it down the names of countries. Those countries which are the part of SAARC are Afghanistan, Bangladesh, Bangladesh, Bhutan, India, Maldives, Nepal, Pakistan, and Sri Lanka. These countries are responsible. These countries are responsible for growth in Southeastern Asian countries. These countries are mutually solve their problems. These countries mutually solve their problems. Those problems which are associated with the states, territories, trade, all these are sorted out by these countries on a mutual understanding. They are not allowed to interfere the other organizations of the world. Clear? Next, fourth, Panchsheel. We can't forget this. Panchsheel. Panchsheel, it was the agreement signed in between of India and China. Agreement signed in between of India and China on 29th April 1954. 29th April 1954. 29th April 1954. India signed a treaty agreement with the neighboring country, China. The agreement was signed in between of the Prime Minister, our first Prime Minister, it was the, yes, who was the first Prime Minister, Manasvi? Sorry, Chahat, you have to give answer. First Prime Minister of India? Chahat. Who was the first Prime Minister of India? Yes, Manasvi.
Sir, Jawaharlal Nehru.
And who was the first President of India? Good. President, Navkaran also correct. Pandit Nehru was the first Prime Minister of India. First President of India. Japji said Dr. Rajendra Prasad, and the first Deputy, the Vice President of India. It was the second President of India. Who was the first Vice President of India? Rajendra Prasad, Dr. Rajendra Prasad, it was the first President of India. The first Vice President of India, it becomes as the second President of India. On the birth anniversary of her dad, dignitary, we are celebrating our Teachers' Day. Yes, Manasvi?
Yes, sir.
Answer.
Sir, which question?
Should I again repeat the question? Dr. Sarvepalli Radhakrishnan. Dr. Sarvepalli Radhakrishnan was the first Vice President of India or the second President of India. So Panchsheel signed in between of India and China. At that time, the first Prime Minister of India Pandit Nehru, Pandit Jawaharlal Nehru, and China's first Prime Minister, Chou En-lai, Chouenlai, both signed as a treaty as Panchsheel. Panchsheel means 5 principles. Panch means 5, Sheels principles. 5 principles signed in between of India and China on 1954. What were these? First, peaceful coexistence. Peaceful coexistence. Peaceful coexistence. It means that both the countries, it will be developed as a peaceful conditions in their territories, which will be not harm each other. Second, mutual respect for. These were the principal marks marked under the Panchsheel. Mutual respect for each other's territorial integrity and sovereignty, means supremacy, sovereignty. Both the countries, it will respect to the each other's territories, means boundaries, and respect of their each other's country. Both India and China, they will respect to the boundaries lies in between of both the nations. Both of the countries, it will be as a respect of each other's territories. Third is a mutual non-interference. Jayant Khajuria, raise your hand. Jayant Khajuria and Ishan. Jayant Khajuria, Ishan and Viren. They have to raise their hands. Yes, Jayant.
Yes, sir.
Jayant, can you tell me that those Indian states which shares the boundary with the China? What are the names of states which shares the boundary with China? Jayant, are you listening me? Jayant. Yes, Navkaran. 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 Yes, Amil.
Sir, yes. Jammu Kashmir,
One.
Sikkim, Arunachal Pradesh, Uttarakhand,
Okay.
Himachal Pradesh.
Very good. All these are. It's not a Rajasthan and a Punjab. Manasvi, you are incorrect. JNK is your correct. Punjab, Rajasthan shares a boundary with the Pakistan, Chahat, Leh, Ladakh, the parts of Jammu and Kashmir. Good, Jen. So states are Jammu Kashmir, Himachal Pradesh, Uttarakhand, Sikkim, and parts of Arunachal Pradesh. Clear? So the third principle, which was marked under the Panchsheel, was a mutual non-interference. Mutual non-interference. They will not, both the countries, it will not interfere in internal matters of each other country. Means the internal matters of a country under which the China will not interfere, same as the India will not interfere in internal matters of a China. Fourth, mutual non-aggression. Mutual non-aggression means not at any of a time they will violate the terms of agreement. They will not start as a battle against each other. Mutual non-aggression. And fifth principle marked under the Panchsheel was the equality and mutual benefits. They will flourish the trade. Both the countries, it will as a support for the trade in between of both the countries. I'm again repeating as a 5 principle marked under the Panchsheel, which was signed in a 1954, peaceful coexistence. Second, mutual respect for each other's territorial integrity and sovereignty. Third, mutual non-interference. एक दूसरे के इंटरनल मैटर्स के अंदर कोई इंटरफेरेंस नहीं होगी. Mutual non-aggression, not at any of a time both the countries they will start as a battle against of each other, but China it violated because as a fault. And fifth principle as a equality and mutual benefit. Equality and mutual benefit. Clear? So these 5 principles marked under the Panchsheel in between of India and China for respect of each other's territories. In 2017, our neighboring country, China, Chinese troops, they entered in parts of Arunachal Pradesh. That border line in between of India and China in Arunachal Pradesh is known as a McMahon line. McMahon line. ये disputed issue है आज भी. Why? Because when the Britishers left our country, they were neither marked any boundary on ground. उसको मैप पे बनाया गया था, but not marked on a ground. Yes, Jayan. What do you want to say, Jayan?
सर 2020 में भी उन्होंने ये पंचशील को वायलेट किया था ना.
So many number of times they violated all these principles. McMahon line. This line that line has drawn over a map, but private companies. The term privatization has used in context of the term privatization is not as adequate funds are available through which the quality services can provide to the population. For which as government, one example is there, simple example. Roads maintenance. Maintenance of road is a basic responsibility of a government. हमने public facilities में पढ़ा था. Roads, transport, it is as managed by the government. Clear? So for the construction of a newer road, presently as new types of the roads are constructed, which are fully as a cemented. Cemented roads, it can be as a function for a longer duration of time. In this process, the first cemented road, it constructed as the Yamuna Expressway. Yes, can anybody tell me? Yes, girls, contribute your role. Yamuna Expressway constructed in between of which of the two places? Yes, girls. Boys contributed in today's class. Yes, Pragati, Japji, Kritika, Khyati, Prabjot. Yamuna Expressway constructed in between of, yes, such kind of roads, they are capable for a landing of jet planes also because of their structure. No, it's Agra and Nizamuddin. Agra and Nizamuddin. Nizamuddin in Delhi, older Delhi, to the Agra Yamuna Expressway. So new types of the roads, these are the constructed. So when government not having as adequate funds, it has hiring as a private companies for construction of roads and their maintenance. In such waivers, such companies are responsible to collect as a toll tax. Remember, toll tax. They are collecting as a toll tax, and some percentage of a toll tax they are pay directly to the government. After completion of a 10 to 15 years, such rights of a collection of a toll, it will be as a transferable to the government. कि 10-15 साल के बाद such rights which earlier as collected by the private company, now as a government will collect as a such taxes. उससे हुआ क्या? Roads बन गई, roads maintain भी होगी, and presently as a government having as their control. Then afterwards government start to as a work as per their will, means welfare. Then it will start, it can as a possible that the government can start to reduce the number of toll taxes collected from the people. Clear? So liberalization, when it has introduced, with this as a globalization and privatization also introduced. Privatization introduced in India, in which the private companies hired for increasing the pace of infrastructure in Indian economy. Such improvements visualized in the form of India becomes as a developing nation. Our country becomes as the developing nation, which is moving ahead towards the development. Clear rhythm? Movement towards as the development. Development, it may be as the better in way. Number of inputs when we as increase, more growth, more improvements, it will be as a more industries means more jobs. More jobs means more income. If the income is more, then the people, they will live as a healthy life, healthy and a prosperous life. In country, there will be the poverty will not exist if the jobs are there, if employment is there, if people are literate are there, good infrastructure is there, industries are there, better government is there, political stability is there, then people will prefer to live in such areas. This was our chapter, India after independence. Till at present, number of changes took by the government to achieving their developmental goals and solving those problems which creates as a problem for the new nation India since last 75 years. Since these years, Pakistan, our neighboring country, creates as a problem for the growth of economy. There is disturbances, border disputes in both the nations. Border dispute. Pakistan shares the boundary with India through the states of Gujarat, Rajasthan, Punjab and Jammu. Punjab and Jammu and Kashmir. Through as a such territories, both the countries, they are still in the thick. They are still in a Pakistan's demand as the demand of Jammu and Kashmir. If we are seeing as a history, in this chapter you learned as the ruler of Jammu and Kashmir willing to make their state as a separate nation, but due to as a Pakistan troops attack, Hari Singh willingly given their territories to the India, not as a forcefully India occupied the Kashmir, but still as a disputed issue in between of India and Pakistan. Clear? This was our chapter, India after independence. Any questions? Any questions? Yes? Any queries? Any questions? Then we proceed towards the exercise. Towards the exercise. We will proceed towards the exercise. Any questions? Any queries? Question number 1. Name 3 problems that the newly independent nation of India face. What were the problems? To feed population. What were the problems faced by the newly independent India after the independence? After the independence, what were the problems faced by the independent India after 1947? First, to feed their population, problem of food. Second, reorganization of Indian states. reorganization of Indian states and rehabilitation of refugees. Rehabilitation of refugees. Rehabilitation of refugees. Get it? 3 points, only headings, no need to explain it. Second, what was the role of Planning Commission? What was the role of Planning Commission? Planning Commission established in 1950. Planning Commission established in 1950, which helped to design and execute suitable policies for economic development. Presently, Planning Commission is known as Niti Aayog. Planning Commission is known as Niti Aayog, which Planning Commission formulate 5-year plans, 5-year YEAR, 5-year plans for sectoral growth of economy. Sectoral, SECTORAL, sectoral growth of economy. That's it. This much for the second. Yes, any queries? That's we will continue on tomorrow. Tomorrow we will discuss as the rest of the questions, then the last chapter of geography. Clear? Thank you.